All right, we actually had a pretty big day today in the markets with the Nasdaq making new all-time highs. We're going to take a look today at the S&P 500. We're going to take a look at the dollar, which reversed. We were looking at that during our live stream today at 3 possible areas of resistance to sell into. We're going to be taking a look at gold, silver, and also Bitcoin and Ethereum. We got a big session ahead of us. We're going to get right into it, starting here with the S&P 500. Now look, we are currently drifting up over here, approaching and targeting this area of 33.39. This is horizontal resistance, and it's also this trend line resistance of our upper channel. We have 2 areas, and extend this one over because we might hit this one. We have 2 areas over here that we're targeting in this confluence of resistance, horizontal, and trend line resistance. That's pretty much, if we do reach that, going to be our take profit for the rest of the summer, for August, until we get going again the first week of September. That's what we're targeting. We did see the Nasdaq, by the way, of course, any pullbacks into our trend line throughout the month of August, whether that's horizontal support at 32.32, or if it's this sloping trend line which continues to rise. Right now it's coming in at 31, let's call it 31.68, or maybe a little lower, 31.60, and that's continuing to rise. Those will be areas we will be looking to buy any retraces into support. Let's check in on the Nasdaq making new all-time highs. Reason being, we've been stalking and tracking this ever since we had the break of this trend line. We then looked for the retest, the resumption up that white line, and then we since have then come in, retested that local support, confirmed it, now hit the all-time highs. This was the first target area, but this wasn't a take profit area. We are looking here, take a small piece off, move your stop loss to break even now, and we're looking for a further push up over here. I think the best judgment here of when it's going to be time to take profits, as the Nasdaq goes off to new all-time highs, there's nothing above it. So there's no resistance to look for. So what we're going to use as a guide right now is we're going to use the S&P 500. And as the S&P, if it comes up into this resistance, that's when we're going to say, all right, the Nasdaq at this point, that's your place to take profits. Right now, all you could say, everything looks pretty bullish here on the Nasdaq. If we start seeing any reversal here at this resistance, we're not looking to short the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's trading at all-time high. You're not trying to pick the all-time top. You're not trying to pick the top, right? So even if we have a reversal over here, then we'll acknowledge that, we'll look at that, and then we'll look for a pullback to test next this 1067.1 area. Now, what about the dollar? During the live stream this morning, we were looking at the dollar, which was trading all the way up here, and we were saying this right now is a retrace in a downtrend. We went through all the technical levels. I'm not going to do that right now with you. I'm just giving you a brief update here. We went through all of the technical reasons why the dollar had broken down, where it confirmed that resumption downwards, and where the trend started picking up to the downside. Listen, before you could even think about calling a bottom and even a near-term bottom in the dollar right now, you got a lot of technical work to cover to the upside to even think about a trend change. Right now, you could kind of look at the area, this trend line over here. This is coming in right now at 95.74, and as long as you're below that trend line, this is really in bad shape over here. Definitely over here, the look over here. This was the prime trend line over here. This was the prime trend line. As long as we're below that, that's just the sellers are in absolute control. Now, this trend line over here we used for the times we peaked below to confirm the breakdown. What you're looking at on the DXY is a complete breakdown right now. A complete breakdown of this trend line. You could see here comes the retest. If we start resuming down, we're targeting and we're looking in the 90.60 area. Now, 90.60 area, that's next. Let me throw a bit of support in there so that we could track that. All right, what else? That's green for support. Next, I want to check out gold. We're going to take a look at gold, which earlier in the day, when the dollar was strong, you noticed that gold was only off a little bit, and we noted that it was consolidating very nicely right below all-time highs. Any breakout over here to the upside, that's attractive, as there's nothing in the way up here, and gold has room to run. That could be the next leg up. Now, what about silver? Silver also, and by the way, precious metals, gold's in a uber bull market here, trading at all-time highs. Silver, right, we're calling the low when the Fed acted over in March. Precious metals are bid here. Look, as we cross the 2450 line, if we get that resumption upwards, that could open up, right? Even a lot quicker than we thought. We thought it would take a lot longer, but 2950 is the next resistance above there. That's a long way. It's not a straight shot up there. You have this resistance right where my mouse is. You see that over here? This was support, 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 support. Up, look, resistance. Do you see how that works? Do you see how that works? Let's draw that in over there. Look, once you clear that, that's when there's not too much in the way until 29.50. Just some levels to throw at you for those that are active. I think precious metals right now, obviously buy and hold. Not even looking at any type of take profit area for precious metals. Bitcoin's different. On Bitcoin, we have areas of take profit. We believe around 18 months from now, we'll be looking to get out of our Bitcoin trades over here. I'm targeting somewhere between 100,000 and 140,000. Listen, these things could get away from you. We could go more to the upside. That's what I'm if we hit that area, mission accomplished, right? If we go up to 288,000, thumbs up, fantastic. We will walk you through it as it's unfolding. Right now, I'm just trying to get everyone, as we entered the bull market right over here on this break over here, as we entered the bull market and since have turned this 10,557 level into support. By the way, going into the weekend, we had that there as support. You could see price touched it, bounced above it, closing above this trend line. Very bullish over here. The Bitcoin continues to be acting really well in the extremely early stages here of the bull market, just breaking out. I remember someone told me that first day, are you selling? That first day, the first day Bitcoin entered the bull market, right over here, they're like, are you exiting Bitcoin now? Right over there. No, we're holding for an extended period of time, right? Do not get left behind. If technically this is in fantastic shape, right? Technically, this is in fantastic shape. Right now, I'm targeting around 14,000 before I'm looking for my first significant retrace. It doesn't mean that will happen, but from 14,000 on, I'm looking for my first 30% pullback and my first opportunity for my next position into Bitcoin. Until then, I am done positioning myself into Bitcoin. All set now as the bull market begins. Ethereum, by the way, just a real, below in the description, we have some links. One of them is to FX Choice. They allow you to have the base currency. This is for trading FX pairs. This is for trading Forex, right? FX Choice. Now they do offer accounts in Bitcoin or Ethereum. I personally use Bitcoin at this point of the bull market because I'm looking for a significant price appreciation in Bitcoin. I'm looking for over a 10x. I don't know what Ethereum is going to do. You all know I've taken a small speculative position in Bitcoin. I do think our next target over here is going to be 500. You could see this was the resistance over here. Beyond that, it's 800. And I do think that we are going to not only test, but break 800 in this bull market. And then I don't know what happens. I don't know. I assume we're going to test somewhere around 1200, 1250, right? 1300 in that area. I don't know whether or not we make new all-time highs on Ethereum or not. We'll see as it unfolds. I will be exiting my Ethereum trade somewhere in that neighborhood. Happy with it. Rooting for Ethereum. Personally, I don't believe it's going to be able to scale. And I think they're going to run into some problems. And I think that there's going to be some problems. Listen, I am 100% rooting for the success of any type of decentralized protocol. I understand Ethereum is not fully decentralized. They're working towards it though. It's close, right? That's why we had the chain split between Ethereum Classic and Ethereum, because they rolled back transactions on the blockchain. That doesn't happen on Bitcoin. That's the difference between Bitcoin. People think or are unsure whether or not Bitcoin could scale. Bitcoin is already Bitcoin is already functioning as it should, right? Security, security, security. That's what Bitcoin's about. It's not about speed. It's about security. They have level 2 layers on top of Bitcoin, such as the Lightning Network, to take care of faster processing transactions. That's all going to be worked out. What's important is having that secure, decentralized core layer. That's neither here nor there. We're all in it to follow what's happening on the charts. Listen, I'm not calling, just so everyone knows, I'm not calling a top over here. I'm saying between what happens, I'll be watching between 800 and that level, right? If we break the 800 level, I do think that we're coming up and we're testing somewhere around 1200, right? Maybe 1300. I'm not saying that we're not going to break it, go on to new all-time highs, and then put up some even massive returns beyond that, because during this bull cycle, if you start seeing things align for Ethereum, if you start seeing the whatever upgrade they're working on, not full disclosure, I am not following the project up close. That's simply because I've put my money where my analysis is. It's on Bitcoin. I understand without question the 4-year cycle around the halving of the miners award, which is cut in half every 4 years. I understand the bull market phase that causes, and I understand the bear market phase that causes within that 4-year cycle. Technically, I'm all over it. Fundamentally, I'm all over it. Listen, I'm rooting for Ethereum. I'm rooting for almost every project. I'm rooting for cryptocurrencies. And listen, the cryptocurrency is a weird term because Bitcoin is the only one competing as currency. Bitcoin is the only one competing for money. Now, you do have things like Monero, which offers privacy features for transactions, but it's not competing versus Bitcoin, right? It's just an alternative solution, and it is a good solution for some. Bitcoin is competing against gold. Bitcoin is competing versus the euro. Bitcoin is competing versus the US dollar. Bitcoin is competing for a portion of the global monetary supply. So like Ethereum, completely different purpose. I hope it's a success. I would love to see decentralized finance take off. I still think it's at its very infant stages, and a lot. When you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's one thing. When you start talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, that's another. And when you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars, listen, it's not there yet. It's not safe, right? We've seen lots of loopholes. We've seen the money could be lost. It's very risky. And that's why those investing are looking at making the possible returns. That it's highly speculative. That's not how I make my money. I'm looking for high probability. That's what I'm at. I don't know why we got into this Bitcoin, Ethereum rant, but here we are. Looking at the euro US dollar bias, I want to finish it up. People are wondering perhaps if I took this trade as I was looking for this support to hold this morning, but I'm not looking to take this entry over here. First of all, there wasn't an entry. There wasn't an entry off the support yet. Price has not made a higher high than the previous price bar, showing that price is resuming off the support. It's also time of day. I don't trade this time of day right now after the New York close and throughout Asia. I'll see what's going on during London and whether or not this looks like a possible place to look for opportunity. Same thing with the Australian dollar, US dollar. You could see it coming off this support over here nicely. To me, the euro US dollar looks more attractive, and the pound has been trading very nicely also versus the dollar. You could see the pound also resuming off. If the pound is able to take off, I will clean that up for you tomorrow. I'm not going to be looking at that now. Everyone knows I've been staying away from the pound. It's finally, this morning during the live stream, finally time perhaps to get interested in. If we break out this resistance over here, I'm going to draw it in a moment where my mouse is at 1.32. Then we have the potential for a nice move here. That will make sense if the dollar continues to break down. For me, the most interesting is the euro US dollar. I'll see what happens. I went into this week knowing it's the first week of August, knowing that we're just coming off of expansion. I am aware, I am cautious. I am looking to see if the market goes into a period of consolidation right now. And if it does, I'm gonna adjust my trading accordingly. So I'm not yet looking Not yet looking to attack. All right, let's take a look at some Bloomberg charts. By the way, these are Bloomberg charts. You can find them on Zero Hedge if you want to follow along yourself. You can see over here the S&P and the dollar index. Look at this tight correlation ever since April between the two. And you could see over here earlier in the day, dollar was up, and you could see but the S&P was actually, and you're going to see this happen also as we look at gold. The S&P was consolidating pretty nicely, and as soon as that dollar weakness started, you saw a little bit of tick up. Now, if you look at the Bloomberg Dollar Index, you could see this is the second highest 2-day jump in the dollar going back over here. You could see that in early June. This one was faded. Is this one going to be faded again? You got some pretty strong resistance over here at 1200 on the Bloomberg Dollar Index. Here's a look at that same Bloomberg Dollar Index intraday, and you could see as soon as Europe closed, that's when the dollar started to sell off. And you know what? That's a very, very important time of day, often where you see a lot of reversals. That's where we stop looking for new trade signals. A lot of false signals happen after the European close. Let's look over here. We're looking at here again, we have the dollar index, and look at this yellow line over here. This support over here we have bounced off of. You could see the heavy resistance above that we're coming back into. Listen, this was the first test. If that support breaks, if this support breaks over here, do you think we're going to see a prolonged sell-off here on the dollar and possibly could see lower lows? We're going to be watching for the turn where we might be interested in saying, all right, the dollar's turning here, dollar strength's coming back in. We've seen it before. The dollar could rally out of nowhere. We're going to stay on our toes and watch. But right now, we continue to lead towards that. Those clues are showing further dollar weakness. I'm going to skip over Bitcoin with you. As you could just see, Bitcoin, this is over the weekend, came right down into our area, right down almost to the dollar, to our support. Since back above, Bitcoin looks really healthy, as does Ethereum. We looked at both of them already, so I'm going to move forward with you because I wanted to look at this chart with you. This is a chart of the correlation we're looking at. This is intraday for the last few days, and look at the tight correlation between the dollar and gold. Why the dollar was up earlier in the session today as New York came to their desk, and up until the London close, the dollar was trading stronger, and gold was actually, we looked at it in the live stream. We said, you know what? Dollar's strong and gold's barely off. Gold is consolidating right below all-time highs pretty nicely. Let's see what happens. Next moves on the dollar. It's a dollar story. It's a dollar story. That's all. That's what you've been hearing from me for weeks now. For weeks, because that's what it is. Ever since the dollar broke out of that channel, right? We've been tracking the dollar and calling this a dollar story. There it is. Ever since the dollar broke down out of this channel over here, there's the breakdown. Look, let me zoom in for a minute because this is so nice. Here's the breakout. Here's the retest, and then the resumption. That's our trigger. We've been very bearish, the dollar, since, even though I wanted to be bullish. I am completely detached. We just find out what's happening on the charts. I hope this analysis is helpful for you. If it is, please go ahead and smash that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I'm waiting. I'm watching. I actually went into this week with the mindset that I'm not looking to take a trade. Still holding a couple of open positions. I'm not looking to take a trade unless something is clear and I want it. All right, everyone. Hey, listen, if you're still here, please go ahead and smash that like button. Help me out, help the channel out. I do appreciate that. I'll see you all tomorrow.